Welcome to my podcast, where I delve into the captivating world of documentary photography and its ability to capture the essence of historical moments. My name is Samantha Simmons, and in this episode, I transport you back in time to the Dust Bowl era, which occurred during the 1930s in the United States. Exploring the iconic photograph Fleeing a Dust Storm, Cimarron County, Oklahoma, by the American photographer Arthur Rothstein. Join me as we unravel the visual and emotional layers of this powerful image, exploring the resilience of those who faced environmental adversity during one of the most challenging periods in American history. How does Arthur Rothstein's photograph, Fleeing a Dust Storm, serve as a powerful example of documentary photography during the Dust Bowl era, and what insights does it offer into the human experience, resilience, and environmental adversity of the time? Through my discussion, I'll shed light on the creativity, context, and significance of this photograph that continues to resonate with us today. So, sit back, relax, and embark on a visual journey through the lens of Arthur Rothstein as we uncover the story behind this image. Arthur Rothstein was an influential American documentary photographer known for his powerful and socially significant work during the Great Depression era. Born in New York City on July 17, 1915, Rothstein began his career as a photographer under the Farm Security Administration, tasked with capturing the effects of the Dust Bowl and economic hardship on American communities. Rothstein's contributions to the tradition of documentary photography extended beyond the Dust Bowl, encompassing various social issues, labor movements, and cultural transformations. The Farm Security Administration was a U.S. government agency created during the Great Depression as part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs. It was established in 1937 and later merged with the Resettlement Administration in 1937 to form the Farm Security Administration. The primary goal of the FSA was to address the economic challenges faced by farmers and rural communities during the 1930s, particularly those affected by the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. The photographic documentation of the Dust Bowl and its human toll by FSA photographers played a crucial role in raising awareness about the challenges faced by rural Americans early in the 20th century. The images produced by FSA photographers are now considered iconic representations of that era and have become valuable historic records, living in the collection at the Library of Congress. Rothstein and his fellow FSA photographers, Walker Evans and Gordon Parks, saw their work as a form of advocacy. They aimed to create awareness and influence public opinion and government policies through their images. In this sense, the photograph can be seen as means of shedding light on the struggles of the people in Cimarron County, as seen through Rothstein's lens in Fleeing a Dust Storm. Arthur Rothstein's intentional framing captures the urgency and desperation of the families as they navigate the harsh conditions of a dust storm. The composition and choice of subject matter serve as a visual narrative, aiming to evoke empathy and understanding from the viewer. Through this photograph, Rothstein employs his lens not only as a tool to document the harsh realities of the Dust Bowl era, but as a form of advocacy. The distressed faces, the packed belongings, and the vast, barren landscape all become powerful symbols that communicate the urgency of the situation. Rothstein's goal, shared with his fellow FSA photographers, was to create awareness and influence public opinion and government policies. Rothstein's photograph, Fleeing a Dust Storm, poignantly captures the profound human struggle against environmental hardship and highlights the enduring resilience of individuals who face the daunting challenges of one of the most difficult periods in American history. Resilience is a prevalent theme when I look at this photograph. My eyes are immediately drawn to the center of the photograph where a father and two little boys flee from the dust storm. Running from the left side of the frame towards the right in front of their home, their movement creates a sense of urgency and motion in the foreground. The urgency is not just in their movement, but in the implied need to escape or seek safety. The framing of the subjects running towards the right side of the frame may create a visual tension as viewers instinctively follow the direction of their movement, wondering what is driving them forward. The photograph skillfully uses lighting to create a stark contrast between the illuminated family members and the dark background, drawing attention to their struggle and vulnerability in the face of an approaching dust storm. The storm, depicted as a threatening dark cloud, adds a forebodying element, intensifying the severity of the family's predicament. The inclusion of a young boy covering his face emphasizes the impact of environmental conditions on the most defenseless, humanizing the broader struggle during the Dust Bowl era. Overall, the deliberate contrast captured by Rothstein's lens not only highlights the immediate challenges faced by the depicted family, but also prompts reflection on the broader implications of environmental adversity and resilience in American history. The emotional impact is captured by the body language of the family. Although you can't see their faces, the moment of crisis and desperation is captured. The composition of the image, with the family at the center and their movement from left to right, creates a sense of urgency. This contributes to the emotional impact by making the viewer feel the immediacy of the family's situation. It conveys a sense of impending danger and the need to escape the oncoming dust storm. The perspective of this photograph is at eye level with the family. So as a viewer, I feel as though I can experience the dust storm from the perspective of the family. This creates a strong sense of empathy and connection. It puts the viewer in the shoes of the family, making them feel the harsh conditions and challenges faced during the Dust Bowl era. When I look closely, I can see the texture of the ground, the family's body language, which appears to be mid-stride, their postures leaning forward, suggesting a hurried movement and the density of the dust storm, all of which contribute to the emotional impact of this photograph. Overall, the visual representation of this Arthur Rothstein photograph effectively communicates the harsh realities of the Dust Bowl era, emphasizing the struggles humans had. The emotional impact of a photograph is essential because it allows the viewer to connect with the subject matter on a deeper, more personal level. In the case of this photograph, it helps the viewer to not only understand the historical context of the Dust Bowl, but also to feel the emotional weight of the moment. It makes the viewer empathize with the human suffering and resilience depicted in the image. The dust storm is not merely a backdrop, but an integral element that intensifies the emotional impact of the photograph. The emotional impact, crucial in connecting the viewer with the subject matter, goes beyond a mere historical understanding. Instead, it immerses the viewer in the visceral experience of human suffering and resilience. I'm a soloist for this podcast episode, so I'm inviting my family to share their thoughts on the emotional impact of this photograph. I asked my mother what she saw when she first looked at this photograph.
When I first looked at this photograph, it looks kind of sad. It's a black and white photo of a family that looks to be running away, especially when you see the father's running faster than the kid. It's a very desolate area. You don't see color or trees or anything but just flat area. It's kind of a pretty picture, but it just kind of makes you feel sad also.
Could Rothstein's photograph, like many FSA photographers, potentially be a staged representation shaped by the constraints and expectations of documentary work during the Dust Bowl era? Some argue that the image was deliberately composed, with the family in the photograph directed to recreate the scene of fleeing from a dust storm specifically for the photo. While still a powerful representation of the era, the photograph may not be a candid capture of a real-life event, but rather a carefully constructed illustration of the prevalent struggles. Staging scenes for documentary photography was a common practice at the time, serving not only to document immediate hardships, but also to craft various visual narratives that could resonate with a broader audience, influencing public opinion and garnering support for government intervention. Rothstein's assignment to capture the devastation caused by drought and wind erosion in the Dust Bowl region adds another layer to the discussion, raising questions about the authenticity of the depicted scene and the intentional effort to convey the dramatic catastrophe in American agriculture. Roy Stryker, the director of the Farm Security Administration's documentary photography project, played a pivotal role in shaping the narratives that emerged from the images captured during this era. The FSA photographers were not working solely on personal, subjective projects. Instead, they were agents within a larger institutional structure with specific goals and expectations. Stryker, recognizing the power of visual storytelling, sought to create a compelling narrative that could influence public opinion and government policies. In this context, staging scenes for documentary photography became a common practice. The intention was not to deceive the audience, but rather to construct images that effectively conveyed the gravity of the events and the human experiences involved. Rothstein's photograph aligns with the broader narrative crafted by the FSA to draw attention to the severe consequences of the Dust Bowl. The nature of this photograph raises important questions about the role of documentary photography in shaping historical narratives. While the image remains a poignant representation of the struggles during the Dust Bowl, it prompts us to critically examine the complexities of visual storytelling within an institutional framework. In an interview with Richard Dowd, Arthur Rothstein is quoted saying, "One day, wandering around through Cimarron County in Oklahoma, the panhandle of Oklahoma, I photographed a farm and the people who lived there. The farmer and his two children, two little boys, were walking past a shed on their property, and I took a photograph with the dust swirling all around them. I had no idea at the time it was going to become a famous photograph, but it looked like a good picture to me, and I took it. It was a picture that had a very simple kind of composition, but there was something about the swirling dust and the shed behind the farmer. What it did was the kind of thing Roy always talked about. It showed an individual in relation to his environment. Of course, it is the sort of thing that painters from time immemorial have been trying to do, to show a man in relation to his environment. You know that old axiom that art is the expression of man? So, if this has any art, it's because of the expression of man." This provides a deeper understanding of the circumstances and Rothstein's perspective on the creation of the photograph. Rothstein highlights the spontaneity of the moment, noting that he had no intention, prior, or expectation that the photograph would become famous. He notes that the photograph achieved what Stryker always talked about, showing an individual in relation to their environment. This quote provides valuable insights to Rothstein's mindset, the spontaneity of his creative process, and his awareness of both the artistic and documentary aspects of his work. By weaving this understanding into the visual analysis, we gain a more nuanced perspective of Rothstein's work. The deliberate staging serves as a reminder that these images are not just spontaneous captures of real-life events, but carefully constructed compositions designed to convey a specific message. In Rothstein's own words, we catch a glimpse of the dynamic interplay between spontaneity and intentionality that fueled his creative process. He recounts a day spent meandering through Cimarron County in Oklahoma, emphasizing the unplanned nature of the encounter with a farmer and his two children. The image captured was not a preconceived frame, but rather a spontaneous response to the visual appeal he perceived in the moment. The quote from Arthur Rothstein does not explicitly address whether the specific photograph he took was staged. In the quote, he talks about wandering around, capturing a moment with a farmer and his two children walking past a shed, and expressing the surprise at the subsequent fame of the photograph. He emphasizes the spontaneity of the moment. It's important to note that during Rothstein's time with the Farm Security Administration, there were instances where photographers were directed to stage scenes to convey the hardships faced by people during the Dust Bowl era. The FSA, under the leadership of Roy Stryker, aimed to create a visual narrative that could influence public opinion and government policies. Photographers were tasked with documenting the effects of the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, and some of the images captured were indeed staged to illustrate specific aspects of the challenges people were facing. One intriguing aspect is Arthur Rothstein's choice to sign the photograph with pencil, a common practice during his active years as a photographer. This tradition was influenced by the era's materials and photographers' preferences, served to express respect for a photograph's historical value and archival quality, as using ink or other deteriorating methods could compromise long-term preservation. Recognizing the significance of this practice sheds light on Rothstein's intention to not only capture a moment, but also to acknowledge the historical value and archival quality of his work. The deliberate use of pencil signature becomes a testament to Rothstein's commitment to the enduring preservation of his images, elevating the photograph beyond a mere visual representation of a moment of time and implying a mindfulness of it as a historical document. Fleeing a Dust Storm transcends being just a photograph. It stands as a historical artifact contributing to our understanding of a critical period in American history, the Dust Bowl era. Enduring as part of the visual record documenting the human experience during those challenges, Rothstein's photograph within the larger FSA played a pivotal role in shaping public perception. Actively disseminated through various media platforms such as magazines, newspapers, and exhibitions, these images raised awareness and garnered support for the government intervention during the Dust Bowl. Rothstein's photograph, including others from the FSA project, became a cultural symbol representing the resilience of the American people amidst profound hardship, frequently utilized in educational settings to teach about the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression, and the impactful role of documentary photography in shaping public awareness. In exploring the visual and emotional layers of Arthur Rothstein's iconic photograph, Fleeing a Dust Storm, we have embarked on a journey through the lens of history, unveiling the harsh realities of the Dust Bowl era. This photograph remains a powerful representation of the human struggle against environmental adversity and the enduring resilience of those who faced one of the most challenging periods in American history. This photograph, frozen in a moment of struggle, becomes a living artifact, an unyielding reminder of the challenges faced during one of the most challenging periods. As we dissected the composition, lighting, background, contrast, the emotional impact of the image became palpable, a testament to Rothstein's ability to capture the essence of the moment. Does the photograph not only serve as a historical document, but also as a poignant expression of human experience, resonating with viewers on a deep and personal level? I asked my dad this very question to get another perspective. Hey Dad, do you think photographs can be historical documents?
Yes, I think photographs can be historical documents, and being able to look back in time to see these pictures gives you an idea of how things looked.
There you have it. Photographs can serve as valuable historical documents by providing visual evidence of past events, people, and places. Rothstein's photographs of the Dust Bowl are considered powerful historical documents that vividly capture the harsh realities of the environmental and economic changes faced by people living in the affected areas. Arthur Rothstein's own reflections on the photograph further enrich our understanding by offering a glimpse into the spontaneity and artistic intent that shaped this enduring image. This podcast episode was not just an exploration of a photograph. It was an invitation to connect with the past, empathize with the struggles of those captured in the frame, and appreciate the enduring power of documentary photography to convey the human experience. Thank you for listening to this podcast.